Depression has affected me very deeply. I have seen one of my best friends attempt to kill herself while we were in middle school. A family friend who used to take care of me while I was growing up suffered from severe depression and ended up taking her own life. One of my close friends is considering transferring or even dropping out of college because of the way this illness has severely crippled her. Something I am less open about is my own battle with depression. It has varied in intensity during my lifetime, being especially bad after my car accident last year, but it is something I have struggled with and am struggling with now. The Faces of Depression is an art project that I have created by working with several of my friends who also have depression. What we did was we summarized our experiences with this illness and worked to sort our feelings into several broad categories. I then printed out several face outlines and colored them in a way to express each of the words we chose to describe our feelings, hence the name of the project, Faces of Depression. The first face we came up with is emptiness. It starts out as this hole in your heart that grows and grows until it freezes your entire self. Nothing seems real or even important anymore because you are numb to everything. The emptiness aches deep in your chest because you know that at one point in your life you received joy from the little things, like not having to wait in line for a smoothie or having your cat voluntarily sit next to you to watch TV, but now you feel nothing. For this face, I chose to leave it untouched by color and blank to represent the emptiness that someone with depression feels. Sadness. People with depression often feel extremely sad and cry a lot, many times over nothing or over insignificant things. For most people, sadness is caused by something external, like the death of a loved one or a bad grade on a test. But for depressed people, sadness is caused by something internal. The sadness usually takes a physical toll. I know from my experience, some days I could not get out of bed because my entire body would be aching with sadness and I would just lie there and suffer. When I would get up, my body would be slumped over and my eyes would constantly be puffy because I could just not stop crying. For this face, I chose to use dark colors, like black and blue, to represent the darkness that overcomes a person. There are streams of tears coming from the person's face to show crying. Anxiety. Depression can oftentimes spiral into other mental illnesses, such as eating disorders, OCD, and anxiety disorders. Depression is truly a mental illness because your thoughts turn you on you. You overthink everything, and all your failures haunt you as you try to do anything. Your body is tense with anxiety because you feel like there is a constant impending doom. On the face I colored, I chose a red background because red, to me, is an anxious color, and used colorful marks and swirls to represent the anxiety boiling up. Guilt. For this face, I chose green because I felt like it was a guilty color. There are black lines crawling up the side of a person's face to show how guilt creeps up inside a person. I drew it to look like sharp edges and like broken glass to show how guilt can make a depressed person feel broken. People with depression feel like their life is nothing, that they are worthless, and like they are a burden to those around them. This mindset is one of the reasons why they do not get help. They feel like they do not deserve help or are inconveniencing those around them. Fogginess. Depression is this kind of fog that settles over your mind and refuses to leave. It alters your perception of the world and makes it bleak. Words feel weird in your mouth, and you find that it becomes harder to express yourself, which further isolates you from people. Your movements are slowed, and I would find myself just staring off into a distance because things are not being processed. The face is primarily yellow, but there's a chunk of it that is gray to represent the fogginess that overtakes the mind of a depressed person. It was hard for me to create these faces because it took a lot of hard conversations with other people and with myself. You can go on WebMD and Mayo Clinic and read about all the symptoms of depression, but there is little on what goes on inside of a person who has depression. For this project, I sorted all these thoughts and emotions into neat little categories, but in reality, depression is all of these faces existing all inside a single person's mind. It is emptiness, sadness, anxiety, guilt, and fogginess, taking over the minds of people we know like Robin Williams, J.K. Rowling, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jon Hamm, and Kid Cudi. So for my last face of depression, it is not one that I have colored in, but it is this, a mirror to signify that depression does not discriminate based on age, race, or gender. Depression can affect anyone, even me, and even you. I firmly believe that advocacy has its roots in education. This project works to educate the public, but also to validate people who have depression. There is a stigma around mental illness that keeps people from talking about it. That stigma ultimately leads to lack of knowledge about what depression really means and also leads to depressed people not wanting to talk about it or get help. Depression is not just being sad or having a bad day. It is truly a crippling illness that needs more attention and better understanding. It is time for us to end the stigma on mental illness.